Kia ora and welcome to BusLife. So now that this battery's fully balanced and ready to go, I'm going to crank it up and give it a decent test. Now before I do that, I will show you how I'm going to wire it up with the help of this handy whiteboard. So what I've done is I've sketched on this whiteboard some of the components that I have. Well, most of the components I have, it represents what I'm using to do my testing, which is actually pretty close to what I'll be finished with. So let me zoom in and show you. So in this bottom left corner I have my battery pack, a couple of shunts. I've got an inverter, bunch of circuit breakers, a couple of DSSRs. I've got a power supply which I'm using so that I can charge at night, solar panels and my BMS. So this is kind of how it's going to go. Now I'll use the terminology of an earth, although at this stage it's not really earthed to a chassis or anything. So that's going to come out of here and go to an earth. Now the positive is going to come out of here and go into a load shunt. In the longer term that's going to go first through a bloody great big fuse, my catastrophe fuse. But right now it's going to go into the load shunt. Now out of the load shunt will be actually basically a load bus. So all of my loads are going to come off of here. Now at this stage I only have one load, which will be the inverter, and that will come through to there. Now the earth will also come through to there. So then after the load shunt, that will go into the charge shunt. Now I've already explained the reason for the two shunts. Maybe I have. Maybe I will soon explain the reason for the two shunts, but then it will come out of the charge shunt. So this is still the positive, and it will come out of there and go to I don't know where it goes actually. Charge shunt. Charge shunt goes to well, to a bunch of places. One of those places is this DDSR. Another one is this DDSR. Actually, there's another one, and that's my MPPT charge controller. Right, and so it'll also go to there. Now this is all positive, so I'll maybe put a little positive there. Now my solar panels, I'm going to run them through I'm going to run that positive through a breaker. Let's use a 16 amp for the purpose of that, and that will come into both my MPPT. In fact, what I'll do is I will run it through a second breaker, so it'll come out of there and it'll go into there. So that will go to my actually maybe it needs to go to two more breakers. So one of them will go to my MPPT charge controller, and the other one will go to the plus input on here. At the same time, this will go to the plus input on here. Now what I've done here is given myself the ability to choose between running the solar panels through an MPPT charge controller or running them through a DSSR20, so that I can do a direct comparison between the two. And I can also then do a direct comparison between this parallel connection, which I've got shown here, and series connection. Right, so my load shunt, then that comes out and that goes through, I don't know, maybe through here and then down into, because it doesn't actually go straight to there, and then down into here to run through the Victron inverter. Now my MPPT charge controller probably shouldn't hook straight to that charge shunt, because I want to be able to turn this off. This draws a current of its own just to run. So what I'll do is I'll run that charge shunt from here down to there, around there, over that, over that, over that, over that, and up to there. So that will give me a positive feed to the MPPT charge controller. Now the negative can go straight to the earth. The negative here can go over that, over that, over that, over that, straight to that earth. Likewise here, straight to that earth. Now that negative here, from the solar panels, the negative from the solar panels can also go straight to the earth in all cases. MPPT, oh no, I need it to come through here, that's right. So the negative from this solar panel needs to go to two places. Now how did I handle that? I think what that meant was I run one around the outside to the earth and the other across here. Oh, I forgot to do my little jump into here. Being positive. Now my charger, this is essentially a charger, constant current power supply, which basically gives me up to actually up to 10 amps at 30 volts, but I'll be running it probably around about 5. So that's pretty much everything. Oh, I need a negative for here, which will come from there. Actually, that's an easier way to show a true connection, is to put a dot on it. Anything else is a through connection or an over, you know, like kind of like that. Now that's the majority of the power circuit, if you like. However, this baby here has a number of wires coming out of it that I need to connect for balancing. So I have one that comes down to the full negative, and then one that comes down to the connection between the full negative and to one cell in from that, and then one that comes down to one cell in from that, and one that comes down to one cell in from that, and one that comes down from one cell into that, and one that comes down to one cell in from that, and one that comes down to one cell in from that, and one that comes down to the full positive. So that is 8 connections, actually 12 wires because some of them are doubled up, but 8 connections from there, and that's what runs my BMS system. Now then it also has connections coming down to either side of my shunts, and one for the load shunt, and that's the bulk of those connections. Then it has control circuitry which will come through to ideally to my MPPT controller. So I can't control that just yet, but I could do it by putting another DSSR here. Right, so if I put another DSSR there on the solar panel input into the MPPT controller. Because I can't directly control it, then I can run a control feed out to that. Now at the same time I've got a control feed going to this one and a control feed going to that one. Now that enables me to turn these on and off with my BMS. Now I also need to turn on and off the Victron inverter, so I'll run a control feed down to that. And that's it in a nutshell, really. It's actually pretty straightforward. I could maybe have done a better job of drawing it, but that's what I'm going to do. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. And that's all we have time for today. Hopefully this has helped clarify my wiring. I can assure you that the real thing will be considerably more messy than the drawing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. As usual, hit all the buttons, like and subscribe and all that if not already, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Take care, mā te wā.